Hey, it's Tonya B, host of This Is the G podcast. To keep our podcast real and unfiltered, we accept limited sponsorship dollars. Instead, we depend on you, our listeners. Now you can support us and look good buying our swag. Our merchandise store is open for fall 2022. You'll find coffee mugs, shirts, hoodies, and there's more to come. Look for the link in our podcast notes of each show or go to our page at castropolis.net/This Is the G podcast. That's castropolis.net/This Is the G podcast. Be a G. Support the podcast, y'all. News, politics, pop culture, and that piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. This is the G podcast.
The next time you drive through Central Georgia, we've got a radio station we think you'll love. We're Magic 100, playing all of the songs you grew up with. You'll find us at 100.1 FM. That's 100.1. On I-75, you can tune us in from the north at Locust Grove and from the south when you get to Perry. 100.1 FM. Classic soul hits. Magic 100.
This is the G Podcast with your host, Tonya B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is the G Podcast, episode 155. Yes.
Yeah.
What I have to deal with on an NFL Sunday with this dude is all good, because I'm with it. I just have the volume turned down. So I'm with you, though, bro. Again, we do news, politics, pop culture, and that piping hot tea with the one and only Tonya B. Welcome to This Is the G Podcast. And y'all, it is another week. Vi's here. Tonya B is here. Another week in paradise. Warnock wins early voting on Saturday. We'll get to that with Syracuse Mike. Our nutty racist uncle, or y'all's nutty racist uncle, is running again with a special counsel waiting for him. We'll get to that in news. Nancy Pelosi steps down, and the question is, will Jeffries get a shot? We'll see. And in Arizona, Carrie Lake, is she black, y'all? Black Twitter wants to know.
Her name's probably named her. She's gonna try to pull down everything on 23andMe. Her last name is probably really Blake or Black, and she changed it.
I want to see, what is it? The 23andMe. What's the other one? Ancestry.
You know what I want to see?
The Ancestry. That's what I want to see.
No. All you got to do is make her turn around and look in her kitchen. Okay.
All right. Karen Bass is, I don't know why she wants to do it, but she's taking on LA. And in the tea, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, including some stuff that went down with Kelly Rowland on a New York radio station. We'll play the clip and get into it. Just a whole lot of stuff, y'all. A whole lot of fun stuff. But this is the G Podcast, episode 155 each week. We do news, politics, pop culture, that piping hot tea from the one and only. Y'all give it up for Tonya B.
Yeah, anybody got any old school remedies for the common cold? I need one.
That. What is it? All you have to let me tell you what to do. I'm gonna give y'all a quick remedy if you like on the fly. If you don't have the tea, get some hot water, really hot water, and get some lemon juice, or just lemon juice, and get cough drops, right? And melt the cough drops in the water. Get about 2 to 3 of them, mix them up, let them melt completely, and sip on that. And that'll help. I promise.
I got something even better, brother.
Oh, I know.
I have a head cold. I have a head cold.
Wait a minute.
I have a head cold, so I need to break up the congestion in my head.
Wait, let me go back.
Get you that spirit called Barrel. It's about 120 proof.
What? What's it called?
Barrel. Barrel.
Wow.
Barrel.
It's about 120 proof?
About 120 proof.
Yeah.
Get that lemon drop you're talking about and some peppermint.
Yeah.
Sip it. I guarantee you.
And boom.
So I got a question. Now, how deep into the cut do I have to go to find this stuff?
Barrel. Barrel.
Do I have to go up in the SWAT? Do I have to go to Bankhead? The liquor store over there? No. I have never heard of that.
You can actually go. They probably only had to go to the white store to get it.
But what happened to the hot toddy? What happened?
That is the hot toddy.
That's the hottest toddy.
Y'all be in here sweating like Little Kim and Whitney Houston.
Let me get to it. Come on, y'all.
Okay.
The Byrdwire, Fridays and Saturday nights. Check it out. 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Saturday at noon. And if you missed, had a chance, if you didn't get a chance to actually check out the Byrdwire this week, it is on demand. The current episode at castropolis.net. Go to castropolis.net. And you know, on a serious tip, Tonya B, you did the hip hop.
So to November is Hip Hop History Month.
Yeah, yes. but you know, you did a salute to hip hop this week. You played a lot of the great stuff. So if you guys go, you know, and check it out, you'll have a chance to hear what she's doing within the show. A lot of the old school hip hop. But you know, one thing, and I'm first generation hip hop. I consider myself first gen because was it 50 years of hip hop?
Yes, it is 50 years. Exactly.
So one of the things, and when it comes down to just, you know, young Black men, women really embracing activism and the culture, I got to give it up to the NBA. One thing, because if you're not aware, on election night, the NBA just basically suspended all their games. They didn't schedule any games on voting on the night, Tuesday voting day. In addition to that, all the venues, most of the venues were used to vote at. I mean,
as polling places.
Yeah. So they used them as polling places. And in a lot of cases, a lot of the players made announcements. They did television, radio promos. They really embraced encouraging people and pushing people to get out to vote. You know, my thing, and I got to address this, and I know some folks might get mad, but hip hop, man, I remember back in the day, and I don't want to sound like the old man on the porch, the ageist, but it was just like when we first started in hip hop was extremely activist. You know, you had KRS-One, you know, you had the early Run DMC, you know, you had leaders of the new school, you had Public Enemy. It just seemed like activism, and even when it came down to songs, a lot of the songs just had more consciousness. And now you got the younger generation throwing shade at the older generation. You know, you heard call the older rappers dusty, and you know, and just some mess.
You know what?
And you know, it's just but let me finish. It just disappoints me because so much could be done, in my opinion, to get that young vote out. Which, you know, in a lot of cases, that's where we get hurt the most. The younger demographic. But it's just how do you address? I mean, how did they address that? Because I know you're talking to the hip hop museum, the one in New York.
Yes.
And I mean, you know, and I am going to eventually have them on, but I want to have a conversation deeper than just the venue itself, but talk about what these guys are doing to address maybe the apathy when it comes down to being politically engaged. You know, I know a lot of these cats, they're making so much money now that they don't want to affect their bag. But how do you deal with that?
I mean, but you mean the OGs, or you mean these young guys are making so much money?
No, the young guys. The young guys are making more money than ever. You know,
right? Well, you know, again, there's this phrase that says the struggle is real. They really haven't struggled. All the forefathers who made it so they can act a fool, you know, they were the struggle, and they were active. But again, these kids, and I say they're kids, but they are steeped into the abyss of ignorance where, you know, it's almost like you're too dumb to be stupid. And, you know, and then a lot of them, you know, some of them have, you know, some education. There are a few, but the bulk of them just don't even have the mental maturity and capacity to even digest this, or, you know, what the importance of it is. You know, one thing I will say, when Keisha Lance Bottoms was running for mayor in Atlanta, was that 4+ years ago?
Yeah.
You know, the people I saw that were out there, T.I. was very much, you know, into the whole activism thing. He was very active. And then you had Ludacris was also out that year. And one thing I will say, you know, shout out to, I think it's Yo Gotti, you know, who actually did something, you know, and put his money where his mouth is, so to speak. And he was, you know, out there. But the thing about it, to me, it seemed like there wasn't enough of a presence.
Yeah. And you know, I'm not throwing a blanket or shade over all these guys. I'm just saying that when, you know, and this is just the truth, it's real, because we were talking about the AMAs and we're talking about the award season. and at one point, hip hop dominated the award shows. Even the performances, you had, basically they were getting marquee positioning when it came down to everything, TV promos, radio. You just heard the hip hop artists, hey, Cardi B, blah, 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 and now it's like a lot of the networks are really backing away from it because it's so toxic and the violence is real, if you don't believe me, all you have to do is take a look at the AMA promos and even probably watch because as we're taping on a Sunday. The American Music Awards are taping tonight. Hell, they're talking. What's the award for the old school? The Legend Awards going to Lionel Richie. So it's very sanitized.
Again, because they messed it up before. But again, here's the other thing. Yeah. And the guard has changed with who green lights, who performs, and who does what, and how the flow of the show. Yeah. And a lot of these people are scared. Let's call a thing a thing. Yeah. They're scared. They don't want to tip the apple cart at all. And at one time, hip hop was not as aggressive to me, and there was still so much money to be made. Yeah. But now. Again, they don't want to take, and I get it, they don't want to take that risk because I'll tell you this, in 2016, Betty Wright was on the BET Hip Hop Awards and she opened up with DJ Khaled, and she was saying how they had to stop so many times and she actually had to go backstage and stop beefs and it was over something stupid.
And see, that's ridiculous. You just don't hear about that. Plus, even when it comes down to when we look at, we're about to wrap up the year 2022. And you look at musicians who were murdered, the majority of the musicians murdered in 2022 are rap artists. So my whole point is we're old enough to be a part of it, to be a part of the hip hop generation. We're not our parents. Our parents were removed from the hip hop generation.
Oh, absolutely.
We were part of it. I remember being in the club. I remember a lot of the early incidents, but, I remember the Source Awards. You know what I'm saying? I remember throwing chairs.
Yeah. They have a lot with the music also. Yeah. The music, it's the music they're putting out right now. The music they're putting out, that's what's selling. You really can't put that on TV for the...
Yeah, you can't.
It's aggressive. Yeah. It's aggressive. It is. And, and I think there's something to be said for, the state of hip hop as it is, the aggressiveness of it, the toxicity of it, and the fact that a lot of people who are listening to this stuff are mentally imbalanced.
Yeah, that's true. And unfortunately, they leaned out. They on that perp.
They didn't lean back. They leaned out. Right?
It's the truth. And it's sad because there was so much promise in the music. I loved hip hop. When hip hop first came out, I probably got more into the electro hip hop with, Africa Bambaataa, Soul Sonic Force. I was more upper end beats, Mantronics, stuff like that, more like the B-boy stuff. But when it came down to, as it started to go regional, you had Luke coming out of Miami, you had the Southern hip hop, and we're going to talk about the Hot 97 thing as well. I want to address a couple of things, but, we were into the Outkast, Goody Mob, a lot of that stuff. And it's just, to me, man, it's unfortunate that a lot of what's going on now taints the entire genre, So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll get back into it, but check the Byrdwire out. It is at castropolis.net. The current episode where, Tonya B is featuring, some of, a lot of the hip hop from yesterday on her show. Appreciate you doing that, Tonya B. Let me give you applause.
I got to educate and entertain, and people need to know, again, where it started, and people need to know the truth. Rapper's Delight was not the first hip hop record. The Sequence were not the first females on wax. So I took it all the way back. And I just got to say one thing. Can I just please say shout out to MC Shyrock? I think she is so underrated and unsung from the Funky 4+1.
Funky 4+1. Weren't they on Saturday Night Live? Didn't they do the Saturday Night Live?
The first hip hop group to go on television. It was Valentine's Day, 1981. They were with Debbie Harry, who was a supporter of them. And in case you didn't know, she wanted to take them on tour with her and Blondie as their opening act. Mm-hmm. And Sylvia Robinson, again, was short-sighted. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't allow it.
Wow.
That would open them up to a whole new audience. Yeah, and they would have been around longer.
I agree. All right, y'all. And my boy, the one and only brother from another mother, is in the building. He is ecstatic because let me go down the list here. Georgia won, Georgia Tech won.
Yep.
The Hawks won. And the Falcons won. So
Hey, the Falcons won. Who they play? Pee Wee High School?
You wrong. You wrong for that. I'm going to bring. Oh, you are. You're going to get called out next week when we do the sports show.
I'm telling y'all, the Falcons going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, Lord. Now I ain't going that far, bro. But anyway, let me give it up for the one and only pride of Mary Persons High School for Forsyth, Georgia. He's in Columbus representing. Y'all give it up for Byron.
If you're going to go out, go all the way out.
You ain't been drinking that barrel over there. But what's up, man? I mean, just real quick. I mean, what are your thoughts, man? You happy for the Falcons? I mean, I know. Let me say this: we have a lot of folks, who listen from all over the country, all over the world. I want to, we just happen to be in Atlanta. So, let me say this though, man, because all on ESPN, they never talk about the Falcons. they rather talk about the New York trash teams than they talk about the Falcons. So, so it's okay for us to say, but give me your thoughts, man, real quick. We're going to this. Go ahead.
I like for the Falcons to win, but they're not doing us any justice by winning.
There you go again.
We're not going to the Super Bowl this year. Yeah. We're not going to do anything. So we need to get prepared for the future. We need draft picks.
See, by trying to get that, they ain't gonna throw the season for you, man.
They ain't got to throw the season, but God,
yeah.
Can we at least stay in the top 10?
Yeah,
it's nothing to throw.
Yeah, but let me tell you, Tonya B. The thing is, they won 5 games.
Yeah,
and see, let me say this: my pick this year was for them to only win 4 games, so they've already exceeded my expectations. And a lot of people. They've exceeded. Yeah, they've exceeded.
ESPN said they're going to win. ESPN said they're going to win with 2.
Yeah. So the fact that they won 5, I got to give it up to them.
But how many did they lose?
Well, 5 and 6, but still, I mean, they're still on. Look, I mean, let me say this, Tonya B. Tom Brady and Tampa Bay have only won 5. They just happen to be 5 and 6.
Again, they're overrated, and I'll say this.
And they cheated to beat the Falcons.
That's what I'm saying. So did.
Well, they cheated to beat a whole bunch of people. That's Brady. But, my thing is, I'll say this. You got 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. So maybe we just need to go and lay some footballs on the altar at the Black Baptist Church and pray for the Falcons.
Yeah, Reverend Warnock's going to take care of that. All right, y'all. Hey, let's go ahead and do news with Syracuse Mike, y'all, and we'll be right back. We ain't going to talk no more sports. That's it for today. Here we go.
News team, assemble!
Time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
The Warnock for Georgia campaign, along with the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee and the Democratic Party of Georgia, have filed a lawsuit in the Superior Court of Fulton County to allow early voting on a Saturday before the runoff. This is all about a Georgia law that prohibits Saturday voting following a Thursday or Friday state holiday, like Thanksgiving and the state holiday on the next day. In another legal matter, a judge overturned Georgia's ban on abortion starting around 6 weeks into a pregnancy, ruling that it violated the U.S. Constitution and U.S. Supreme Court ruling that was in place when the law was created. This is the heartbeat bill that you've been hearing about. The Georgia Attorney General's office has filed a notice of appeal. Former President Trump made it official Tuesday night, announcing a 3rd run for the White House. Instead of New York, Trump made the announcement from Mar-a-Lago, his new official home in Florida. The announcement comes as a growing number of Republicans are saying, at least for now, that the party should look for someone else following the high-profile candidate failures in the 2022 midterm elections. Also Tuesday, Republicans nominated Kevin McCarthy as the next Speaker of the House. McCarthy won easily, 188-31 in the internal conference meeting as the party gets closer to having a narrow edge over Democrats. 14 House races remained undecided as of Tuesday afternoon. McCarthy will eventually need 218 votes in January to become Speaker. Arizona's getting a new governor after various news outlets projected that Democrat Katie Hobbs has defeated Republican Carrie Lake. Hobbs thanked her supporters.
Arizonans chose solving our problems over conspiracy theories. We chose sanity over chaos. And we chose unity over division.
Arizona will now have a Democratic governor and 2 Democratic senators for the first time in more than 50 years. After days of counting, Karen Bass has been elected mayor of Los Angeles. She becomes the first woman and only the second black person to lead the city. As Republicans won control of the House of Representatives this week, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell won the support of his fellow Republicans and will retain that position. McConnell is also excited about the Georgia runoff.
All of a sudden, I'm a fan of the runoff. We got another chance to get it right. And that's job one for us. 50 is better than 49, and we're going to give it everything we got.
McConnell admitted that his party underperformed with key voters in last week's election. Gay marriage could become protected nationwide following a key Senate vote Wednesday. The Senate defeated the filibuster and set the stage for the Respect for Marriage Act to get final approval very soon. Thursday, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi announced after nearly 2 decades she would not seek another term as leader. She also said it's time for someone else to take the job.
For me, the hour's come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect.
Pelosi is widely seen as one of the most effective speakers in American history and will remain in Congress. We told you recently this would happen, and now it has. WNBA star Brittany Griner has been moved to a Russian penal colony to serve what remains of her 9-year sentence. Attorney General Merrick Garland has appointed federal prosecutor Jack Smith to serve as special counsel and oversee the investigation into former President Trump and his allies' efforts to interfere with the 2020 election. Smith will also look into the unauthorized transfer of classified documents to Trump's Florida estate.
Based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the next election, and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel.
You know, y'all, all I have to really say to that is remember Mueller. That's all. Remember Mueller. I mean, this is going to be another mess. And you know, I hate to say it, another waste of time, but I'm going to save that for another day, okay? The special counsel situation, waste of time. On another note, y'all, you notice the Walker commercials? I mean, we're in Georgia. So the new Walker commercials are trying to paint him kind of as kinder and gentler. You know what it sounds like to me? It reminds me of, like, you ever see the commercials? We old enough to remember Driving Miss Daisy, right? You know, It's like,
oh yeah.
I love me some Herschel. You know, he's my best friend. You know, that's the kind. It's coming off like this, and you know they're trying to paint him as the kinder, gentler politician, and they're going after Warnock because apparently one of the his church has some stock or part ownership in a tower.
Columbia Towers.
Yeah, Columbia Towers, which is elderly folks, and there's some folks were lined up for eviction, which they never actually acted on the evictions. But it's a mess. I mean, I will be glad. Vi, you mentioned you'll be glad when these commercials are over. And I am, definitely looking forward to it.
And get Hirsch out the spotlight, please.
Yes, please.
I got PTSD from that.
Yeah. I have definitely got it.
Yeah.
Also, I got to say, Mike mentioned in the news, because this was after the deadline. Actually, Warnock won. He actually got the Saturday on. It is actually Saturday is actually back into early voting now. Whereas because of the fact that there were 2 holidays, they were going to shut the Saturday down, which actually, the 28th is when early voting begins. But now, because Warnock took action and the Democrats in Georgia took action, we now have that Saturday. So kudos to Warnock and the Democrats of Georgia. Also, kudos to the NAACP on Twitter for really calling Twitter out. And I got to say to CEO President Derek Johnson, definitely a good move going after the advertisers who advertise on Twitter, saying, look, until, because of the actions now that Elon Musk has taken to bring, the Humpty Dumpty back.
Yeah.
They should definitely pull away. So I want to see how effective this campaign is. But, let me say, and people will say it's fair that Elon Musk did that poll to actually, allow, quote unquote, the people to decide. I don't know if you saw it, but you kind of.
I did, but he already made his mind up. Come on.
Well, see, my problem with that is it's not really scientific because there's so many freaking bots. There's so many freaking fake accounts. in Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
And he had enough time to get all the bots together so that they didn't get rejected. Now, he had to have somebody come to the 10th floor to do it because, he does not have the mental capacity or the skill level to do that. Yeah. But he got somebody did it. Trust me.
So my point is, it's not really scientific because of the fact that, you don't know, there's so many duplicate accounts. Of course, people can go on and do more than one vote. The other thing is Brittany Griner. I wish the WNBA would focus more so on this than a bunch of this other foolishness that is from these guys who are doing self-inflicted shit to themselves, and really focus on what's going on with Brittany Griner. That's what we really need to be talking about. Now with her going to this penal colony, there's no telling when they're going to see her again. So I really hope they come to their senses. And last thing before we go into tea, you said Hakeem Jeffries. You mentioned Hakeem Jeffries. Your thoughts on Hakeem Jeffries, Tonya B?
And one thing I will say, I give Nancy Pelosi credit for, there needs to be some new blood. No tea, no shade. She's 82 and the other guy is, he's all gray. So I think as long as they keep having, people in there, not that Nancy didn't do some things, and we forgive her for kneeling with the kente cloth. But, there needs to be a shakeup. There needs to be some, younger blood. They, had those younger, politicians come in, of course, AOC, and you got, I forgot the guy, I think his name is Frost in Florida, and, I hope there's just, as we, want to keep this blue wave, I just hope there's another, a turn of consciousness. And I hope that, those young voters that are out there, they will be, called to action by, is it Marcus Frost, and by Hakeem. And, it's like he is, the people, and he really is the representation of, the bulk of people in this country at this time.
Yeah. And you know what? I think he is a better communicator than Nancy Pelosi. From what I know and watching him head committees, he just comes across as a better strategist. Plus, I think, we need a black man in that situation who understands politics, who can see us. I still don't feel from Pelosi that she sees the big picture, and I don't have any problems. I'm not an ageist, but we have way too many octogenarians.
That's why there should be term limits. But here's my other thing. Yeah. You're talking about Hakeem Jeffries. What? Cory Booker has really been quiet. Is he even still in the Senate?
Yeah.
With Cory.
See, that's my other thing, but I'm going to leave it.
With Cory.
Jeffries has really been on top of it, but I agree with you. There's just so many, who have just remained quiet in situations where they really should have been out front. Mm-hmm. But I think he'll definitely make a good choice to lead because
agree.
He has been leading. So you know what? If they do him dirty, we need to really speak up because, Shift has been pushing and edging toward this opportunity as well.
Kevin McCarthy.
Well, Kevin's on the Republican side.
That's what I'm saying. He's dangerous. Though.
Yeah, they are. All right, y'all. With that, if you, again, go to Castropolis.net, you have any, any feedback or anything you'd like to talk about, definitely go there and leave us your voicemail. Love to hear from you. Here we go.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tonya B.
All right, y'all. We just rolling on this pre-Thanksgiving episode 155. Tonya B is here with the tea. She is in a undisclosed location. If you're looking for her on camera this week, you will not be seeing Tonya B. And Tonya B, who is suffering from, what do you call it? Rhinitis?
Yes. Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm doing you a favor by not seeing you. I am somewhere in America. And, after I do the tea, I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea. Okay.
Yep. Just don't get the
barrel?
Get that barrel yet.
I'm not leaving my house. Oops.
What you got, Tonya B?
Okay, we want to first start out with the celebrity prayer list. And if you haven't heard, Roberta Flack, in addition to what I understand, she struggles with dementia. She also revealed that she has ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, and it has left her unable to sing and she can barely speak. But I'm glad that she is getting her flowers while she is yet here. In January, there will be a PBS documentary about Roberta Flack. And she also has a children's book coming out called The Green Piano. And, in case you forgot, Killing Me Softly was really like, I guess, her breakout song, if you will. And that will turn 50 years old next year. Can you believe it's been 50 years of Killing Me Softly?
Good stuff.
Yeah, and we want to say also get well wishes to everybody's favorite weatherman. That would be Al Roker. I think he may miss the Rose Bowl parade and what's that other one he does? The Macy's Thanksgiving parade, because he has been hospitalized with blood clots in his legs and his lungs. And, it's good that they caught them before they travel north. In his body, and he's on the mend, but he seems to get the best medical care. When you have money, it's like the best Vaseline. Also, somebody who will get the best medical care is former Tonight Show host Jay Leno. He's a real car enthusiast. He was working on a car underneath the car in his garage, and it blew up and it burned his face and the top, maybe like the top of his chest. But they're acting like, oh, he'll be back out in 2 weeks. You got to get serious skin grafts. I'm sorry.
This dude he blew up. The car blew up, man.
I mean, it was a mini Richard Pryor. I mean, it was gas.
Talking about I'll be back in a couple of days, couple of weeks.
Yeah, okay, you tried it. What is always some turmoil. Now these days when you hear the name James Brown, yes, he is a godfather of soul. Yes, we know about his contributions to music and culture, and that. But then you think of James Brown and you hear the crazy, like the time that he was high on CNN, or the time that he had tried to outrun the police, in his truck on the rims, or even his mugshot when he went into jail.
That's my favorite.
But did you? All right. But right? Yeah, he felt good. All right. But the thing about it is now his estate is involved in a lawsuit, and this could be really ugly because, his family is always just a mess. You remember his daughter had his body in her living room for like 4 or 5 years. Yep. And then did you know that he has a daughter who stabbed her husband at his funeral?
It's just an endless.
I know they could. There's a reality show for you. Just all this stuff that that's going on. And anyway, his family sold the rights to his music to the company Primary Wave, which is owned by the husband of talk show host Tamron Hall. And Primary Wave gave them $90 million.
Wow.
But here's the gag, people. The family didn't have the right to do that. Here comes a company named Bowie Bonds, which is named after the late rock star David Bowie, and said that they already had paid the family for the rights to James Brown's music through 2059.
Jesus. They double dipping.
No, they probably got hood rich. But the thing is, now the family is like, we didn't do that. They've gotten amnesia. So I just think that is a hot mess.
But what happens though, Tonya B? It's like you have people who break out on their own cutting these deals.
Like the Prince estate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But the other thing is, and when you have a situation like this, people only see like immediate gratification when it comes to the finances. And in situations like this, just like with James Brown, just like with Chadwick Boseman, the lion's share of the money goes to the attorneys.
Wow.
It's sad, but I hope they can get it together. But
What else? What else you got?
Let's talk about the American Music Awards. Now, one thing I'm going to say is award shows across the board do not have the influence and the power, and just the importance that they used to have. Now it's the same old people, the same old award shows. People now don't sit there for 3 or 4 hours glued to the TV. The ratings for all these shows are low, and you just go and watch the clips, on YouTube when you want to see them. Mm-hmm. So, as you may know, this is the 40th anniversary of Michael Jackson's classic album Thriller, the best-selling album of all times.
But let me say this. I'm just gonna throw this in here. It's sad because the Thriller album, when they actually posted that on the AMA page on Twitter, they had kids going on there saying, "We don't care about this old music. We don't care about Thriller. Ain't nobody listening to that old." It's just ugly.
But they'll use the sample in a New York Minute. But no, I get what you're saying. And, and that's part of the problem here. Again, these ignorant children. But, again, you never know where you're going. You got to find out where you come from. Yep. So, these morons have got to have, there's a lack of respect, clearly. Mm-hmm. But, actually, when you look at Michael Jackson and, the whole thing, all things Michael, mm-hmm. For me, I immediately think of Chris Brown, and I immediately think of Usher. Okay.
Yeah.
So although Chris Brown, this might have been, I think he wanted this to be his comeback, his redemption. Because yes, the Rihanna thing happened 13 years ago. Y'all need to keep it pushing. I just think that he would have been the perfect person to do it, because I saw Chris Brown live in concert, and he's been doing a Michael Jackson tribute since like 2004, and it is amazing. It's amazing. And why did they bring him in there and invite him to do the tribute only to tell him after the rehearsal, sorry, we don't need you? So I've been digging to find out that there's more to this story. And I really don't think it's just the whole Rihanna situation. Somebody done somebody wrong song somewhere. And, I think it also diminishes, Michael Jackson, was at those poor man's Grammys for years, supported them, would come out, and everything was wonderful. So, and I don't think it has to do with, this so-called allegation coming out in this so-called Aaron Carter book about Michael Jackson, coming into the room, in his underwear.
Crazy.
So, I just say, I could see if it had been 5 or 10 years ago, Chris might have been more of a liability and a risk. But I think it's just some political BS. And
you know what I think, though, Tonya B? I still think ABC's mad because he on what is it, Good Morning America?
He was on GMA, yeah.
He smashed that door.
No, but they gave him the opportunity to come on and kind of redeem himself and tell his side of the story. Yeah. But honey, you got to realize you don't control that narrative. Okay?
But I'm willing to bet you. I'm willing to bet you that somebody holds a grudge at ABC who's been there long enough, who remembers that incident. Oh, and they immediately said, "Oh, I know y'all ain't bringing that fool back." Oh,
no, let's take it one step further. Don't forget, ABC is owned by the ever so wholesome Disney.
That's what I'm saying. They somebody remembered, and they said, "Oh yeah, he didn't pay for that door."
Right, there's something else. Something else is going on. So
I agree. Chris is talented, super talented, but damn, that dude.
You got to get out your own way, baby.
Yeah. What else you got, Tonya B?
Like Trey Songz. This isn't part of my thing, but I think Trey Songz, needs a serious mental intervention. He's had some trauma in his life. There's something wrong with him because here comes another woman. He's got a pattern and he's been getting away with it, but now he's got another sexual assault accusation against him.
Wow.
And, he needs to go somewhere, sit down, be an example to his son and make a hit record, please.
How much do you think is women just coming after him?
Well, you know what?
And I'm not. No, I know victims, but I'm just saying.
I know
$2 million. It's $2 million, right?
The thought universe is busy, busy, busy.
Are they asking for $2 million?
The thing is, yeah, but the thing is, and that's like, they go like that now because it's nuisance money. They can write a check. I guess Trey can. I don't know. Write a check. I don't know.
I don't think
exactly.
Write a check.
No, but the thing about it is he may try to, have to put out a record and borrow against future royalties. But the other thing is, when you talk about somebody, it was like Tina. He was dragging this woman by her hair or her wig, allegedly. Remember, there was one that, was it him? The woman said, or was it Chris Brown? It was Chris Brown. He drug her by her weave so bad that it fell out and ripped out her hair.
Oh, wow. Oh, ugh. Okay.
They got problems.
What else you got?
And I heard, and what last we're going to talk about, this story I kind of have some insight about where, you have somebody who's ignorantly out of touch, and is it Paul Rosenberg on Hot 97. Now, Kelly Rowland came in with Marsai Martin to promote this movie that they have, and, he just, it was like very seventh grade to me.
Well, hey, let's do this. You want to go ahead and play the clip?
Oh, yeah, play the clip. Go ahead.
All right, let's play the clip. And what we'll do is come back and you can talk about it on the other side.
Okay. She shouldn't check his
Here we go.
Angie gave you flowers for your ability to play second to Beyonce, which for so many, everyone who gets, I can only speak for me, everyone who gets in the entertainment business gets into it to be the man, right? Just me working with Ebro takes my own ego.
Hates it.
Yeah, hates it. It's my own. My ego has to be in check. Even though when he's not here, I'm like, you know what? I kind of prefer Ebro come back. But it does take an ego check. And you happen to be standing next to the brightest light on planet Earth. Like, you think Big Boy from Outkast has it tough being next to Andre. You're with Beyonce, and not only did you not fight it, it seems like you really loved the position that you were in and took it seriously. And
here's the thing. Light attracts light.
I am light. So I am a beautiful brown shining light. So I don't think anybody's light dims anyone else's. I think that when other people start to compare you, I think that that's when it shows how dim they are of themselves. So I don't take somebody else trying to dim my light anymore for anybody else. I love B. I know that she's a light, but I know that I'm a light too.
Yeah. But it's also created such an interesting role for you where like you could have rested on your laurels and just been like, hey, I'm a part of this iconic group. My best friend's the biggest star in the world. We kick ass. We're awesome.
Yes. And her best friend / sister is one of the big stars in the world too. Yes. So it's like people only see things one-sided. You know what I mean? So I don't like when they just put one person in one place. Like, we both shine together. I'm shining with Marseille. We're shining together. Right. It's always been like patriarchy to me, or even now, like everybody's actually taking the hit of and start to believe this thing where, well, only one woman can do this and they shine the biggest. Right. My sister has knocked down doors and made positions for so many women that look like her, that are deeper shades than her or are brighter or whatever, but specifically for Black women, and put Black women in other places that, you know, we're grateful for.
Look, I'm going to let you go first, Tonya B. You go ahead.
Well, you know what? Like I said, she very eloquently chin-checked him, because when she says when other people don't see your light, they are dim. So she called him dim, which I will equate to being dumb. Did you catch that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, and if that's the only thing you can think of to say, you know, I think it goes back to, you know, when things are being said about Destiny's Child, there was a time when they were getting booed and things like that. But again, as part, you know, of their boot camp and things along that line, you know, they were taught how to rise above people's ignorance. And you know, and Kelly is an example of that. You know, there was a time when overseas, Kelly was a bigger star than Beyonce was. But, you know, Beyonce has found her lane. Again, Kelly's found her lane. Kelly's immensely popular overseas. You know, she does X Factor. You know, she does movies over here. She does, you know, movies overseas. She has other businesses, you know, and income streams. So, you know, she's good. And you know what? And sometimes a lot of people don't want the pressure that comes with being, you know, the spotlight, so to speak, you know, of the group. Because there's all the pressure is there.
Yeah, so true. And you know what? The other thing, you know, I think that the fact that the chemistry among the group, what was left of the group, has always been good. Her and Beyonce, whenever they're together, whenever they go out, it's always been very positive. But, you know, not only was it just, you know, in my opinion, inappropriate for him to bring that up when they were there to promote the movie Fantasy Football. I think that's on Paramount. But it was also, it just didn't make sense for him to even bring up the big boy Andre 3000 thing, because, you know, again, you got, you know, two different types of talent. You know, they were both successful in their own way. You know, it's just, dude, I mean, you know, he kept digging himself a hole. And the thing I have to also say about it, if you're not familiar with, you know, New York, you know, Hot 97 is a shell of what it used to be.
It's a dinosaur.
It is at its lowest when it comes down to ratings. I think it used to be top 5. Now it's like number 18. The Breakfast Club is beating the hell out of it, you know, more so. And it's just, you know, Ebro has done his thing, I guess, doing the thing with Apple, an international show, but it's really nowhere near what Hot used to be back in the 90s when it first came out, when it first launched. So my thing is, you know, it's just, for me, it was unfortunate really to waste her time with that type of question. It just shows how, I guess, disconnected the people are on that show, if anything. So, you know, I give kudos to Kelly for responding classy, because a lot of folks would not have responded as classy as
I
she
just
did.
say part of that comes from their time they spent at Matthew Knowles University. Yeah. Because like I said, she chin-checked him so eloquently, I don't think he realized that she called him dumb.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. And I got something before we wrap up. We got a couple of things before we wrap up. Let's go ahead.
What you watching this week, Tonya B?
And y'all, let me say this. I tried to watch Will Ferrell. and the Spirited on Apple TV.
That looks so silly.
It
really
the
did.
musical
with
Octavia Spencer. I couldn't get through it. I mean, maybe if I just it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours too. So I gotta be fully awake. I'm gonna have to wake up in the morning and watch this. But I try to do the heavy lifting so you don't have to. And it was tough. It was tough. Also, y'all, Nope is on Peacock. If you didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, you have Peacock. Keke Palmer, of course, Jordan Peele. Episode 7, y'all, of Let the Right One In on Showtime. I know a lot of y'all don't have Showtime, but damn. You know what? All they had to do for me in this episode, Tonya B, you will not believe it. I'm watching this episode, and it's touching. It's very dramatic. And you know what they play? They decided to play Donny Hathaway. No, they didn't.
Wait, no, they didn't. No, they didn't.
They played More Than You'll Ever Know. Oh my!
Oh please!
It was. But it was just so perfect for the episode. I got to give them kudos for that. Let me give them some kudos.
Well, I hope they paid for it.
Yes. Oh, they did. They did. Showtime ain't gonna go out like that. Also, the season finale of Reasonable Doubt gives us closure. So for those of you who watched it this season on Hulu, definitely there's an opening for season 2. So if you watch season 1, you think it may not get renewed. I definitely, and you even mentioned it, I hope they don't move this show to ABC. Please, y'all don't do that.
Well,
Keep it on Hulu.
I think they should leave it on Hulu and leave it uncut. Now, if they take it to ABC, it's going to have to be edited. And sometimes you can lose some things in translation and things like that. So I hope they leave it on Hulu. And maybe they're going and putting it on ABC, because if you think about it, what else do they have besides Abbott Elementary and Ghost?
Vi and I watched this show. Vi, will it be the same show on ABC?
It would not. It would not.
It cannot. It's like trying to put Power on. It's just, it's not as bad as Power was, when Power was in its heyday. But it, I don't see it working in a sanitized version.
Me neither.
I don't see it working the way it worked on Hulu. Okay, but it is going to come back. I see it coming back. Also for the family, of course, we're taping this the week before, a week out for before our first big holiday of winter, of fall. Thanksgiving, and the Jason Momoa Slumberland is getting a lot of buzz on Netflix. It's rated PG, it's for families. So again, that's Slumberland, Jason Momoa. And you know what? You remember Dicey was on the show and she was talking about her number 1 pick for...
Yes, I do.
Smile.
The Halloween horror movies.
Smile is out.
I'm hearing a lot about that.
Oh, that movie's crazy. It's on Paramount Plus. For y'all who didn't see it in the theater, it's on Paramount Plus. Okay?
How crazy is it?
Oh, it's crazy enough. Let me tell you, Barbarian was crazy enough for me. All right, y'all. Hey, let's go ahead. This is something new.
A G or not a G?
Kicking off the list of G's, Beyonce, for becoming the first Black female artist nominated in the category of Best Dance Electronic Album. She ties with Jay-Z, her hubby, for top career nominations. Wakanda Forever hits $180 million at the box office and $400 million globally in less than a week. Keke Palmer for just being Keke and gracing the cover of The Hollywood Reporter. Karen Bass for becoming LA's first Black female mayor. Raphael Warnock for suing Georgia and winning to get Saturday added to this round of early voting. And now, not the G, Elon Musk for just being Elon Musk and for banishing himself from the kingdom forever by bringing back racist Uncle Trump. Also not a G, Mariah Carey for losing and even trying to trademark the Queen of Christmas title. Also for Nick Cannon. Clarence Thomas and Mitch McConnell for voting against interracial marriage when they are actually in an interracial marriage. Hot 97 New York's Rosenberg for being dumb enough to take on Kelly Rowland and the entire Black Girl Magic movement by himself and losing badly. Herschel Walker for doing absolutely nothing while the Warnock campaign sued Georgia to get Saturday added back to this round of early voting. Carrie Lake for losing in Arizona, and Carrie, your role in the Tyler Perry version of Imitation of Life awaits you. And finally, CNN for announcing that Don Lemon cannot drink during the New Year's Eve broadcast. But for some reason, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen can still drink. So there will be no drunk Don Lemon this New Year's Eve. And that's it for this week.
A G or not a G?
All right, y'all. So who would you put on the G list? Who is a G and not? That's my list. Okay.
Angela Bassett.
Okay. That's a good one. I'll add her for definitely. It's part of Wakanda Forever.
But also, she's the highest paid Black actress on television now.
Wow. Yeah, because she's doing 911. She's been doing that for a while.
Yeah, she's the highest paid Black actress on TV. And I will give Mariah a small G because she fell and hit her head when she thought she was the queen of Christmas. But you know how she's
not a G this week, though. Come on.
No. I would, let's hold off and see what she does at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
That's her lifelong dream.
Yeah. Is there anybody you'd add to either list?
Country Wayne. He is not a G. He had almost just as many children as
God, Future.
Oh, Lord.
He got 11 himself. I said, oh, my God, Country Wayne.
Anybody else you want to put on the list?
Not a G.
Not a G.
21 Savage and his ignorant ass for saying that Nas was not relevant and Nas made it so he can do what he does. So 21, you go over there and sit down and fold the laundry and shut the hell up.
The Not a G list would have been going on and on and on and on. So I had to edit the Not a G because it was like, damn, just so much idiocracy. That a word.
Oh, I know you said that Keke Palmer was a G.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, and don't forget, next Saturday, December 3rd, she's hosting SNL with her musical guest, SZA.
Yeah.
She's a G. Good. And should I have any other G's up here? Sure Morris Day's lace front is a G. His girlfriend is not.
You're wrong for that. I got to get Morris. I hope I can get Morris. I'm trying to get Morris on the show before he retires.
Oh, he's a great interview.
Yeah, he's funny. I'm trying to get him on the show before he exits the entertainment business. And,
I got to say one more not a G.
Okay, go ahead.
FTX crypto. I know the investors are suing them, saying it's just a glorified Ponzi scheme, and it's just a teachable moment, right? A teachable moment because when you got Steph Curry, Naomi Osaka, Shaq, and the entire Golden State Warriors organization.
Wow.
Endorsing this. And I said, you know what? And as someone told me, the first 3 letters of crypto was crying. They're all crying because they lost a bucket of money.
This FTX thing, and the interesting thing about it is that the government can't get involved in it because it was never FDA. What do you call it? FDIC?
SEC. FDIC, okay.
Yeah, it was never really government approved. So all they can do is go after the company. It's through the company. They can't get the government involved.
Right, but the money has this guy has taken the money and disappeared. And, and again, I'm sure all these, like I said, Naomi and Shaq and all of them that lost tons of money, Steph Curry, they really have egg on their face, but it's just, just because somebody comes and throws a bucket of money at you and you take it, and they give you crypto, whether they gave it to them, it's worthless right now. But my thing is, do your homework.
Yeah, yeah. But let me
go ahead. Make Dave Chappelle a G for his stand-up show on SNL.
I don't know. I think Dave Chappelle is still in purgatory. I
think he did okay.
He's just Dave Chappelle. He's in his own universe.
They're not ready for him.
He's saying, I'm not gonna let y'all dictate my show.
All right,
but you know what I like that he also said? Okay. No, I give him a G for saying that Herschel Walker was stupid.
Yeah. But
I love it. Inherently stupid.
It's going to be interesting to see how Dave shakes out. That's all I have to say when it comes down to some of the problematic things he said versus what he does. That's
most of the famous Jewish people said, most of the famous Jewish people, they said they had no problem with it. They said all he did was make us have a conversation.
It's not even that. The trans people are pissed off at. I mean,
they stay pissed.
They've been calling him homophobic for years. He's not really.
They are really going after him.
Nothing about them without pissing them off.
Exactly.
Now you about to piss him off.
No, and you know what? He might do it on purpose.
Not on my show.
He might do it on purpose. It's a method to his madness.
Let me ask y'all before we're getting close, before we go and close everything out, I do want to ask you about Twitter and what's going on with Elon Musk and Twitter, and as we tape on this Sunday, there's been so much drama because people were talking about the fact that Twitter might even shut down at one point.
It needs to.
And then Elon Musk comes back and does this poll where he reinstates, Trumpty Dumpty or, our drunk Uncle Trump. So my whole point when it comes down to Twitter, are you going to continue?
No, November 1st. No, as of November 1st, no.
Wait a minute, November 1st? You shut it down already?
Yes, November.
Or December 1st?
No, November 1st.
Oh, okay, so past. You've already shut yours down.
And I want to say this.
Okay.
Again, people, you got to remember, you got a man who might be smart enough to be crazy, but clearly he does. He has the deficient Asperger's syndrome gene.
Okay. Well, the word is, even when it comes down right now to Tesla, they're having problems with the cars. 300,000 of the cars are being recalled for a rear light issue. That's, of course, a safety issue. But you've got people on TikTok who are basically just calling out Tesla for just cheap cars. Whereas, you're paying 60,000 up, six figures for some of these cars. And when the inside panel on the doors, the insulation is coming off and it's falling out. I mean, it's just cheaply made. And, my whole point is him sustaining Twitter, when the NAACP is saying to advertisers, don't advertise, where's he going to get the money? I'm just looking at this situation because he's also got a car company to run.
Yeah, let's take one other thing into account.
Okay.
Puffy gave him $10 million.
That's only $10 million. You're right.
No, but I'm still saying he used that to purchase a company, and they say he overpaid, but that is less than smart. I mean, I'm sure Puffy is probably somewhere, beating his love handles, for doing that. I don't know what made him think that was a good investment, but you've noticed Puffy he's been very quiet about this doing, this whole Twitter thing.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Twitter, when it comes down to as an international social media platform, no, I mean, it's really huge. I mean, when it comes down, a lot of people don't use Twitter because it's combative. And, if you start something on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? God bless you, because you're going to be going back. Because sometimes I'll go on Twitter, I may say something or respond or make a comment. And it's like, people, a lot of people like to just go back and forth. Honestly, it's just like, I'm like Lil Duval, I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth.
No, but I'm just saying, what?
I ain't got time for it.
They have too much free time.
I just hit the mute button and keep it moving. But a lot of folks like to, like do these Twitter battles. I'm not really into that, but if you are into it, you don't get that same experience on Instagram. And in a lot of cases, you don't get that experience on Facebook because it allows so much. The language, there's a lot allowed. So it'll be interesting. And the guy who used to own Twitter is opening up. He's creating his own thing called Blue Sky.
He is. And that was probably the plan all along.
Yeah. So I'm looking out for that to see, whether or not that thing is actually going to launch. Okay. All right, y'all, let's do this any last minute thoughts. I'll start with you, Tonya B. Any last minute thoughts?
I know it might be cumbersome, folks, but we have got to show up and show out at these polls. Once again, we are in a code 10 situation.
Yes.
And then there are people that, even though Herschel Walker was the candidate, and people that, maybe they look like us, maybe they don't. But if they are Republicans and they would rather not vote than vote for Herschel Walker, I think that will help Reverend Warnock.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see, because right now, of course, early voting begins again as we tape on the 28th is when it picks up again through December 2nd.
I'll be right there.
And again, I think they've extended that one day for Saturday. I don't know if the Saturday is going to happen somewhere between. I want to make sure I get that right before I say anything here. But definitely, it picks up again on the 28th. So definitely make sure any of your early voting information, you can go to the website Georgia MVP and pull all that information. I'll make sure, as a matter of fact, when I can find, I'll get that link and put it on the podcast page somewhere between now and next week. So I'll make sure that we have that available. Okay, so I agree with you, Tonya B. We just can't afford to have this guy representing us.
No, we cannot.
Hey, the vampires, or I didn't know werewolves could
kill vampires.
Kill vampires. Dude, what are you talking about? What?
That becomes so important.
You had a rally, and you talking about what your kids were watching, and then you try to tell people, "Now follow me on this. Now follow me on."
What,
I'm like,
no, not what kid was watching. What he was
sound crazy. I was watching this movie, and I'm like, "So, what is your point,
Lord?"
Like I say, we got the best country right here in the U.S. What is it? We have another country in the USA.
He's just going.
I know.
It's going to be. There's going to be a full book called Hershelisms of these. Just
probably on YouTube.
He just showed there is no criteria to be in countries now.
No.
Look, Trump won the presidency. He had never even been dog catcher.
Yeah,
please.
So true. Vi, you got any last minute thoughts before we go to the benediction?
Please don't vote for Herschel. Please. If you do anything, just get in there and make sure he don't get in there. We cannot let that man represent us. Please don't.
Look, I'll move out of Georgia.
Well, a lot of people getting their passports between this and Trump running again in 2024 and the quote unquote special counsel. People, passporting up. Like, I'm out of here. All right, y'all. Vi, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready, my brother.
Please.
Go on and do it, Vi. Here we go.
Go to the throne.
Planning for tomorrow is time well spent. Worrying about tomorrow is time wasted. Sometimes it's difficult to tell the difference. Careful planning is thinking ahead about goals, steps, and schedules, and trusting in God's guidance. When done well, planning can help elevate worry. Worriers, by contrast, are consumed by fear and find it difficult to trust God. They let their plans interfere with their relationship with God. Don't let worry about tomorrow affect your relationship with God today. Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. All he's saying, people, just take care of today. Tomorrow problems take care of itself. People, we're here. Don't worry about the future. Live for today. Like I said, you're not promised tomorrow anyway. So take care of what you can. Amen. Amen. And like I said, please don't vote for Herschel.
Hallelujah!
I like the way he dropped that in.
Like I said, I did not say vote for Warnock. I said, please don't vote for Herschel.
But like the old ladies in the Herschel commercials. He's my best friend. All right, dog. All right, y'all, don't forget Turkey Day weekend. I don't know if Vi's gonna be here. Tonya B, I know you're traveling. Vi, we're doing the sports show with Coach Art. It's gonna be all.
I'm trying to be here, man, because I'm gonna be home Sunday.
Yeah, it's gonna be all sports. You ain't got, you don't have to, man. But anyway, Coach Art's gonna be doing it next week, man. We got to talk sports, man. A lot of stuff going on.
All I can do, I can give an hour.
Hey, there you go. Okay, November again. Don't forget, y'all. November 28th through December 2nd. Get out and do the early vote thing December 6th. And if you're traveling this week, please be safe. Definitely look out for, definitely, not only should you look out for yourself, look out for the other folks, especially if you're driving. And with that, y'all, episode 155 is in the can. And we are out of here, y'all. Peace and power to the people. Have a good week.
Be kind to one another. Don't believe the hype. Hallelujah.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tonya B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.